Welcome to the Shabbat Channel, a taste of CSAIR in your inbox. We wish that we could be with you in person, but for now we think this is the next best thing. So check out this week's episode for music from an amazing artist and Torah from our own CSAIR community. For now, you'll have to supply the Kiddush. Shabbat Shalom. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. That was the beginning of the stunning poem that Amanda Gorman offered the country at the presidential inauguration this week. In a few words, she captured the darkness of this time, the many tragic losses and the sea, the challenges we will face as a country. When the day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. This could have been a line imagined by the children of Israel the night before they left Egypt. That night, I'm sure that emotions swirled for them. They too considered darkness and loss, and no doubt wondered, would they be able to cross the sea to freedom? The Torah tells us that that night was called a Leil Shimurim, a night of vigil, a time when we sat in our homes, blood on the doorposts, and God watched over us. And in the same verse, we are enjoined to have our own Leil Shimurim each year as we sit in our homes observing Pesach and retelling our stories of liberation. There are, of course, many interpretations of that phrase, Leil Shimurim. Why was that night called it, a night of watching or guarding? And I'd like to share 3 of them with you that express a little bit of how I am experiencing this inauguration week, an extended Leil Shimurim. The Goldschmidt Haggadah says that Leil Shimurim is connected to the Arabic root samarun, which refers to wakefulness. The children of Israel were awake, eating together, preparing for the Exodus. They were awake to forces and feelings that on regular days they didn't sense. And as a nation, we've been awake for a long time, glued to the news, sometimes obsessively so. This has been a time when many have felt the need to be on alert. It's good that so many people were involved in the democratic process and that people voted in overwhelming numbers, but it was, for many, an exhausting time. Lack of sleep frays the nerves and puts people on edge, and these last weeks, they've been filled with anxiety. Still, the institutions of our democracy did their job. The inauguration was an important day, but these next days and months will be filled with challenges, and we must continue to rise to them. And that's part of what I am feeling this week, awake. The Kli Yakar notes something else about Leil Shimurim. He says that the verse means that just as God guarded us, we are tasked with guarding the memory of the night before the Exodus. The Kli Yakar says it's like 2 companions who said to one another, you hold my lamp and I'll hold yours. In other words, we can't get to the dawn's light by ourselves. We need your light and we need mine to get there safely. In order to get through this time as a nation, we will need to hold each other's lamps. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that delicate filaments of connection bind us together. Your choices affect me and mine affect you. Your help makes it possible for me to find a way through. My light is unique and so is yours, and it is only when they are combined that we see clearly. Can we have the perspective and the sensitivity that we will need? As a nation, we must find ways to listen to one another, to talk to one another, and help one another, and this will not be simple. Can Republicans and Democrats and independents speak to one another about their fears and dreams and do what needs to be done to address this pandemic? Can we strengthen our communal sense of lines that we dare not cross? Will we let polarization define and limit us, continuing to see governing as a zero-sum game? Can we personally turn to the people from whom we have been distant and move forward even if those first steps are hesitant? Amanda Gorman offers a real-world vision about what it means to come together in this way. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. One last understanding of the Leil Shimurim in Egypt. Rashi says that it was the night during which the Holy One guarded us and anticipated fulfilling the promise to redeem us from the land of Egypt. Shehaya Kadosh Baruch Hu shomer umitzapelo lekayem haftachato lehotziam me'eretz Mitzrayim. I feel that sense of anticipation for our country. We have a new president with much experience and a desire to reach across the aisle, a vice president with an impressive background who is the first woman and person of color to hold this office, and many lawmakers of so many different backgrounds eager to make a difference. I pray that they are blessed with the wisdom to recognize our losses, to hold our light, and to lead us across the sea. I hope that in the words of Amanda Gorman, we will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light if we are only brave enough to see it, if only we are brave enough to be it. Shabbat Shalom.
Hello, CSAIR. I'm Batya Levine, and it's such a pleasure to welcome in Shabbos with you this week. I'm going to share a melody called Tu B'Shvat niggun in honor of Tu B'Shvat, the New Year for the trees, which is coming up, and in honor of this week's Parsha, where we receive our first commandment, our first mitzvah as a people, to honor Rosh Chodesh, to honor the new moon. The first thing we're asked to do as a people is to sync up our rhythm, our time, with that of the natural world. To humble ourselves to be a part of the earth, not just beings that happen to walk upon it. And Tu B'Shvat is an opportunity to draw us closer into that Torah, into that medicine, to slow down, to listen for the pace of trees, to listen for the little bits of sap that are starting to flow, even though it looks like winter all around. With that, I invite you into some slowness this Shabbos. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. Yedirai